Jim, we all right? All right. I call the November 4th, 2025 meeting of the Community Relations Commission to order. Welcome, everybody. We have members John Dozel present, staff member Teresa Cummings, Iman Manage, Lori Copsey, Councilman Phil Lederach, Danielle Panetta from La Casa, and Angie Wentz, member. So we're missing Tim today, but we'll carry on without. So we'll move to approval of the agenda of the October 7th meeting. Any changes or additions to the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to
I'll
approve the
move
minutes?
to approve as written.
All right.
Second.
All right. And, all those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. So, well, that was actually, was that the minutes or the agenda? We'll move to the approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So we'll move to item number 4, the Community Development Block Grant, better known as CDBG update from Teresa Cummings. So, Teresa, it's all yours.
So if you turn in your packet to the page that looks like this, it says 2024 CDBG. It's the newsletter, Jen. Scroll ahead. I'm just gonna like hit some highlights from this to explain. This is a grant that we get from HUD. Keep going, Jen, right there. And the reason I'm presenting now for 2024 is my program year ends at the end of June, and then I have to do an end of year report that HUD approved in September. In October, I wasn't able to be here to present, so we had to push it off a month. So it's what the government things are a little bit slower getting through, but what we did with last year's money, we had almost $342,000 and we funded 11 activities. And we had over 1,000 beneficiaries, which would be all classified as low mod people who are residing in Goshen. And just to hit some of the highlights on the first page, we helped First Light Mission, and we support their food program for meals at the shelter, and they supported over 110 individuals. And something exciting for them, I don't know if you guys have heard that they got approved to expand from 29 beds to 43. So this year they're going to be able to help even more people. And I was talking to the director, Mindy, and I didn't know if you guys were aware, they do something called Coffee with Compassion. And that's the third Thursday of every month in the morning at like 7 a.m. If you would want to go and have coffee and do a tour, we would just need to like RSVP to like the director. And as a group, that might be something fun to do. And maybe when they get the other beds in place, we could go tour and just see the improvements. And you guys can kind of see what the city supports with the Community Service Partnership Grant and what CDBG also helps support. So just an idea. Okay, next page. I don't know if you guys remember last fall, we got to go on a neighborhood walkthrough and over by Chamberlain, and we went to the Northside Community Health Center. And when I was going through old files, I found that in 1988, the fire station, to rehab it, they used CDBG funds, and it was $25,000. And that was like Maple City Healthcare first building that CDBG helped start. And I was like, well, that's awesome that we were there at the beginning.
Conversation.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. That's someone that we also support. They basically write off health expenses for people who can't afford it. So CDBG helps with that. And then something else, La Casa, we got Daniela here. Another program is called Help a House, and it's where you help the owners fix up their home who are maybe elderly or limited income. They need help like making it handicap accessible or fixing their roof. I have records that are in spreadsheets, like over the past 20 years, they've helped like 250 different houses. But then when I was going through old files, the program's been going on since the 80s, and there are hundreds of people that have been helped. So we just opened the applications here in October. We've already had 2 people apply. So yeah, I think it's going to be another good year. CDBG also helps the Boys and Girls Club, and they reported they served 54,846 snacks and meals this past school year. So, and that's like free of charge. So they are doing a huge work here in Goshen, in the Chamberlain neighborhood. Okay, next is home ownership assistant. This program just started in 2022, and we've helped 7 people buy homes in the city limits of Goshen. And this is just one of the ladies who we helped this past year. She was renting from a family member. It wasn't going to be able to do it for long term. She had to find another place to live. She'd never bought a house before. And so, yeah, they do housing counseling with that to help prepare them and make sure that they financially can support themselves and then understand just the responsibilities. And so she was able to get her dream home and is loving it. And then next is Council on Aging. We sponsor them too. And the part that CDBG helps cover is the transportation that seniors need to get to like an appointment. Like they don't have anyone to take them. And if somebody doesn't drive them, they're not going to go get their medicine, or they're not going to make that appointment. And so then in Elkhart County, they did over 16,800 trips. The trips within Goshen, I have the numbers back at my desk, but we only just pay for people who live in Goshen for our part. So they do other activities too. I don't know if like Chefs for Seniors happens at the Goshen Library, where they have a program and they'll show them how to cook and show them how to prepare a meal. And then they have some other workshops that they do, but they also do like tax preparation for free, Medicare counseling. They help with Medicare savings programs. They do a ton of stuff for seniors. So if you ever know of somebody who needs help, refer them to Council on Aging. Then I've got just a couple more. Cordale House, we also help with their meal program. Last year, they served over 5,000 meals to 130 different members. Their average daily attendance is about 30 people. So it's CDBG that helps, and then donations, and then they got a food grant that helped cover a big part of the cost too. And then our last public service would be Walnut Hill Early Childhood Center, and they do scholarships for the preschool there. And we were able to help offset the cost for 14 students who wouldn't have been able to afford to send their kids if we hadn't had those. And something I didn't mention, we have a multifamily rehab project that La Casa's doing. It's still in progress. It's 16 units right here downtown at 112 East Lincoln. I don't remember what the name of that book is. It the Shoots? The Shoots building is under rehab, but Home gave them a grant of 1.5 million, and CDBG's was just 135,000. Just a little chunk of our 342,000 went there, but it was a much needed rehab, and it'll be able to sustain that affordable housing then here downtown. Okay, and then next is what we have coming up. So if you go right before that newsletter, there's a proposed activities. So our budget and plan just got approved. I think, John, it might be ahead in the packet. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So our budget just got approved at the end of September, and I was lucky. They sent the agreements and they said, get this in as soon as you can, because we don't know what's going to happen with the government. And we were fortunate to get it in, and they were able to put our funding in an account, and then the government shut down and we're able to access our funding. So I was super grateful, because the people who didn't get their papers in, they don't have their funding right now. So people can turn in claims, and we are doing a lot of the same programs that we approved last year. And there's 2 new ones, and that would be, we're doing a solar improvement project. La Casa has a building that has 12 units, and they will put solar panels on that and it will save them $8,000 a year in utilities alone. So that helps keep the housing affordable and for them to be able to keep prices low for rent, and it helps with sustainability. And then the other new one is housing counseling. They were doing it, but not claiming it. So that whenever they sell a home, you have to do 8 to 12 hours of housing counseling and have that logged. And it has to be a HUD approved certified counselor. And so, yeah, we can now reimburse them for the hours that they spend counseling these people, but you have to buy a house to pay for the counseling. So they go hand in hand. But yeah, so I'm super excited about this year. We have $343,000 for the budget this year. And we're actually going to start planning in January. We're going to be ramping up to figure out what we can do for next year. Yeah, I'm really excited about just the impact that this grant makes. I was looking at just public service alone for the past 10 years has invested almost $500,000 in helping Goshen residents. So yeah, it was almost $500,000 just to public service alone, because that's capped off at 15%. We can't give them more than 15% of the grant.
Mhm.
So that's where like the community service partnership grants, those help offset and help other things in the community that
Sure.
CDBG can't cover.
Gotcha.
Okay, I know that was a lot. I just spewed at you guys. But I love bragging about what everyone's doing. They're doing such good work.
What was the coffee event at First Light? What's that
So
called?
it's called Coffee and Compassion, and it's the third Thursday morning. It starts at 7 a.m. of every month. And if there's one that we want to go to, we would have to like look at a calendar and figure out when the third Thursday is. And since it starts at 7, the nice thing is if you have to be to work at 8, you can be out of there in time and hopefully
Right.
get to work.
You had mentioned possibly for when they expand the bed.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline for that?
I don't know when they're gonna have that done. I was thinking about asking Mindy, because I know they had just gotten approved earlier this year, so I don't know how far along they are in that process. Because they had to get like something through the BZA
Mhm.
to expand, and they have that, so.
How are they funding that expansion?
That's like donations, I'm assuming.
I have toured First Light and was blown away by what they do there and how they do it with compassion, dignity, and the people that they help is going through some of the most vulnerable times of their lives. So I would highly encourage if we can make as a group one of these coffees. I think that would be I think a good gesture, a very good learning experience, and
I'll email Mindy Moorhead and just find out
okay.
like the status of the rehab for the 43 beds and ask her when would be maybe a good one for us to come by as a group and see what she says. And
Yeah,
then
that'd be
I
great.
can just respond to like the emails that you send out.
Yeah, and then I do recall when Dale House presented to the commission several months ago that they have a regular lunch
Yeah.
there as well. I've been meaning to attend that, so I'm going to try to attend that and would encourage everybody else to as well.
My daughter worked there, so that's very
there?
near and dear to me. It doesn't,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
she's in school, but really, pretty much any Monday through Friday, you can
Mhm.
come anytime and anyone from the community can be there and they'll sell you a lunch ticket for $2 and it's a full,
Mhm.
very, nutritious lunch with
Pay
plenty to eat and drink. Yeah. So
$10 for a Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that for sure.
Yeah, and they did say like if someone doesn't have $2, they will always give them like peanut butter and jelly in a sandwich. And they or peanut butter jelly or salad, and they do let them like charge so many, and then after that they're like, okay, you can, because like they understand like some people don't
Mhm.
even have $2.
and one of the philosophies there is everyone who comes, there's a job to do.
Right.
And so it's, you can also kind of work But I mean, it might be as something as helping us file some paperwork or help us get our library in order or do something, you know, because they have clothing drives there for people who going on job interviews and need a good pair of clothes to put on. You know, it's like, yeah, just do some things around here. They don't really want anyone to come and just sit all day. So it really gets people involved, and that involvement really helps to create the sense of value within themselves too. So it's a great program.
Well, thank you, Teresa. I mean, this is a great example of just what we're able to do as a community, and the compassion that we have, and certainly the overall vision that we have in helping people and making this a better community. So, yes, thank you for all of this. Any other questions for Teresa?
I really appreciate the historical perspective because
Mhm.
you look at it and you say, okay, there are 3 people that we're going to help with housing jumps. But you put it in historical perspective, and over a period of a decade, that's 30 houses,
Right.
and that's a neighborhood. And then you start adding the others up. So I think we need to, when talking about what's going on, looking forward, looking now, but looking back.
I know when we helped that Maple City Healthcare, who would have known like 37 years later, they'd have 4 facilities, you know, and be
Yeah.
helping almost 10,000 people a year. But then I was like, oh, cool. We had a part in that. And that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's a huge part of the north side too. Yeah.
I would just like to say thank you for all your efforts in not just pulling this little newsletter together, but for all your efforts in helping the city of Goshen with all these different programs. So thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. I really love it.
Dealing with all of these people to pull this together, and then also dealing with the federal government.
Yeah, that part's a little bit tricky sometimes.
is no
The
small
changing
task.
rules.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, with everything that's happening, do you anticipate that there may be funding cuts or?
So originally Trump had proposed that they do cut this program, but the House and the Senate Appropriation Committees both said they want to continue it. And so the House passed that part of the budget. Now we're just waiting for the Senate to pass. So once they pass, then we should be able to, like, I am funded, our money will continue through the end of June, no matter what. So this will be like, if they do a continuing resolution, then we should be good for another year, but. So I'm hopeful that it will continue on, because I think they see I think it's been 50 years. We have not gotten it for 50 years, but the program started 50 years ago. And they sent out to like the House and Senate, just like stories to say, hey, this program has made a huge impact and please don't cut the funding. So I think people heard that. I hope that it keeps going.
Thanks again. So, all right. Well, that's one great program. We'll move to another. Daniela and I had the privilege and Daniela led this and put this program or put this trip together for a group of people from the Chamberlain neighborhood. But the Community Leadership Institute, which is run by NeighborWorks, had their annual convention in Minneapolis this past weekend. And there's a lot of workshops, a lot of breakouts, some tours of things that are working within Minneapolis. So it was a great experience, and I'll let Danielle tell a little bit about it and what we hope that it leads to here in this community.
Thank you. You gave a really good summary of NeighborWorks America's Community Leadership Institute. But just to go a little deeper, it's annual. I get to choose a group from the community, resident leaders. Normally it's 6 to 8 individuals, and they get to choose courses that they find interesting. And these courses are built on just developing leadership or capacity building, skill building, whatever it may be that's important to them. So each one of our participants got to choose their courses, and then a course of 3 days, they get to do all these fun things, as well as experience the place that we are at, which I always find really inspiring that NeighborWorks does that, because it's not only just a place we're going to bring all these people, but then we actually get to engage into the engagement of the neighborhood. I mean, it brings leaders from all across the United States. So it's just, you can just imagine, and Eamon's actually been to one of them as well. But it's inspiring. It brings together all people from all different walks of life, and they get to network and they get to talk to one another and say, like, this is what's going on in my neighborhood. And then they might be doing something similar, or we might be inspired to do something different. So it's a really good opportunity to just get outside of our own like common day thinking, and build some different pathways there. So one of the big things for CLI is that they don't only give you the opportunity to do all those things, but then they also give you a grant that we have to apply for, but we always get it. And it has to be an idea that the neighborhood wants to do together, and they have to bring it back and do it amongst their group. So we're working together on figuring out what it is that this group is most energized around. A lot of what we were trying to focus on is figuring out what were the opportunities in this neighborhood specifically. I don't like to use the word problems or needs, so I use the word opportunities just so that everyone's following. So this group is thinking about that currently. That's where we're at. We've landed on wanting to bring the community together in a more intentional way. And we're thinking about a meal and what that meal looks like. We're still trying to figure out the details, whether that includes having people come together and help with that, putting that meal together, whether it has to do with the community garden that's also a part of Chamberlain that's up and coming, reopening, I guess I would say. So it's still forming, but that's exactly where we're at right now in this process, and that's normal. But that's the goal, and it essentially is just going to be a big neighborhood party. They do want to be very intentional though about having some components, which I was very, very impressed with this conversation, components of including ownership and pride in the space. So we're trying to look at what that may include, whether it's, I know a mural was brought up for youth to be involved in, something to kind of engage all those generations, but also have them engage with their hands. It's different when you're engaging with your hands. So that's where we're currently at. And next steps is to engage back on our own ground, our own neighborhood, and come together as a group and figure out what are the final details, and then start moving towards it.
What's your timeline now for?
They normally give us a year. Yeah.
And we've already laid some groundwork, I think, with the
Absolutely.
with the community garden,
Mhm.
and we'll talk through like what role that would be. Is this a culmination? Is the meal a culmination of kind of getting that started? If it's separate, so we have some things to work out. But I think we'll meet. The group will meet again, and we'll try to draw on some of those conversations that we had in Minneapolis, some of the previous conversations that we've had here as a community, and put together a plan, and as Daniela said, be very intentional and hopefully be very impactful
Mhm.
with getting that neighborhood to just connect. So, and I think there's a lot of possibility there. So
That's where we get the tour.
correct, yeah.
Mhm.
They have a formal neighborhood association.
They don't.
At that time, or is this part of kind of getting that going?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
That's
and-
the hopes.
yeah, and I hope that this helps spur that and lays the groundwork for somebody to come in and say, hey, I'm interested in being more involved and helping kind of step into a leadership position and drawing people together. So we're optimistic that that's going to be, and Danielle is right. It was the CLI was inspirational, in a sense where it almost felt kind of, almost felt kind of spiritual sometimes, like,
Absolutely.
some amens from the background and stuff when the speakers were speaking, and which is the type of energy that you're looking for when you're community building. So that's, I think, one of the things that I drew from it, just that type of spirit, that type of commitment to wanting to make your community better, making your residents healthier and happier along the way. So thank you for inviting me to that. And I wish I'd felt a little bit better during the entire thing.
Same.
But yeah, so thank you. Any other questions about that? We'll be happy to keep this commission up to date on how that progresses and see what kind of role that support role that the CRC can play in that. So, all right, well, moving on. Thanks again, Daniela. Moving on, I wanted to touch base, give a short update on the community partnership and sponsorship timeline for 2026. I want to thank the CRC and all of our community partners for the work that they did in really bringing home the message of what they do and the impact that they make on this community during our budget hearing talks. I think that was very informational for our staff, for the council, for the community. And as a result, our budget passed for 2026. So we're excited to keep this program going. And we also want to we want to expedite it. One of the things that we've heard in the past is, well, we've already have our budgets set for the next year. How can we, maybe inform people a little earlier? So what we want to do is, and we've already sent out invitations to our community partners and sponsors to apply online. Although I think we're troubleshooting a problem with the application right now. So that should hopefully be up here by tomorrow again. But the due date for the applications to be submitted, it's actually November 14th. So not November 7th. So once all of those are, and I'll be reaching out to all the community members as those come in, or if I don't see some come in, just to check with them to make sure that everything is going okay.
I had a quick question on that.
Sure.
Is this like by invitation, we reach out to different organizations, or is this open-ended? How does that work if an organization says, oh, I'd like to?
It's kind of both.
Okay.
It's anybody is willing to, is
Fill out
welcome
the-
to apply. Right.
Yeah.
But, obviously we've had, the organizations that we've worked with and that we kind of prioritize as far as how they address needs in our community. So those are the ones that we directly invite. So, but it is open for others to apply to. And once those online applications are complete, I'll share them with the entire commission so we can begin reviewing. And then the mayor would like presentations to be made to this commission as we did last year. I think it's a great window. It's a great public forum for that. And I enjoyed those presentations as much as anything, since being on this commission. So we're going to do that, but in order to expedite, we're adding a meeting. So we're going to do back-to-back meetings for the presentations. Those will probably be the only real agenda items is those presentations. And we'll split those over Tuesday, December 2nd and Wednesday, December 3rd here in this chambers. And then we will meet, we'll review those or we'll contemplate those, and then we can meet again, either probably virtually or at City Hall in an executive session to discuss those allocations and those awards. And that would be Tuesday, December 9th. And we'll determine a time to do that. So,
well, we have guidelines, like as people are presenting I'm sure everyone's going to have a very legitimate need and
Mhm.
request.
It'll be very similar to how we kind of did it last year. So, but yeah, we'll have some guidelines and some.
I wasn't here,
Mhm.
I don't think for the last year, but I know I was here for when Cora Dale presented it.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I assume it's
That was
gonna
the
be very similar.
CDBG presentations, I believe. So, which we'll probably do those again.
Cordell was, yeah.
Yes, we'll probably do those again, but it'll be
That'll
into
be in
next,
March.
yeah, in March.
So is that different from, are those types of requests different from this activity?
Yeah, Teresa, you wanna?
Yes, so the community development block grant ones will happen in March, and that will be, so people who apply for those have to be able to have the capacity to meet the federal guidelines. So like every person you help, you have to have race and income documentation
Mhm.
and obviously live in the city. You have to have lots of paperwork. So that's how that differs. And then the community partnership, I think some of them overlapped. If you heard Float Fest and Coradale, maybe that day we did both.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
we
think
had some
Float
last,
Fest was a,
we had a few last minute
floated in a
ones.
little late.
Yes, Float Fest.
Yeah, that's, I'm
They were on the lazy river.
kind of new at all
Yeah.
this, just
Yeah.
trying to understand in my own mind of, the block grants versus community partnership.
Yeah.
So
The
community
funding.
partnership-
Two different
sources are
funding
different.
sources.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
the key, right?
Mine is federal government.
Mhm.
This community partnership is municipal government.
Right. Economic development
Yeah.
is what the fund that this comes out of. So yeah, so that's the timeline. And then we hope to get notices out to our community partners before the end of the year so they can plan accordingly. So yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing there. Any questions? If not, we'll move ahead to the financial report, which is we're still paying out some of our bills from the Indigenous Peoples Day. So that's it's still a work in progress, and we still have some of our mini grants to pay out as well. I'm waiting for some receipts to come in from our neighborhoods leaders, so we can get those paid as well. So. It does look like we'll probably have a little bit of money left over. I was actually thinking that it might be a good time to maybe purchase some CRC T-shirts for the group, and then we can also talk about some things that we might want to have at our table for First Fridays and give out, yeah, some signage. So I think we could. What's that? Your signs are great, but
Bigger,
but, but like our pencils or our pens, like we can so maybe during one of those early, maybe that second meeting or that first meeting on December 2nd, maybe I'll have some options of that we could talk over, and then we can get those ordered. But if anybody has any ideas ahead of that, feel free to share them with me. Be happy to hear them and see what we can afford. And so, any questions on the budget report summary?
We need a motion to accept,
What's up?
we need a motion to accept the budget.
It's actually just kind of a review item. I don't know that we really need to.
But since we're talking about budget, November 12th is the community conversations.
Oh,
meeting
yes.
At the theater. And so we've talked tonight about the community block grants. That's federal money, which is at risk in one way, but the community partnership grants are also at risk in another way. And so there'll be a presentation from Mayor Lichty and Stephen Clark, Councilor Stephen Clark,
From the
and
county.
Blake Dorio and Joanna King have been invited as well. So it's a
Great if they
it's a
showed up.
nonpartisan event for anybody who's concerned about the future of Goshen.
What time?
Yeah, I'm glad.
5:30, it's early, but that's when Stephen Clark could make it.
And that's going to be at Goshen Theater. So I would highly encourage, I'm glad you brought that up, Phil. Thank you. All of you to attend if possible, if you're in town.
I actually have in the car some posters and handouts and flyers that I just picked up. that we're gonna-
Yeah, and we're going to be,
So
Yeah, so I'll take some.
See,
I mean, clearly, if our budget's cuts 38%, we wouldn't have money for the community partnership money. I
right.
mean, just, that would be one of the first things.
Plus, I think that would be an excellent opportunity. I mean, Mayor Lichty has been, she's actually, I think, really emerged as a state leader in being able to explain the impacts of these decisions. And her presentation, I think, would be very, very informational to this group, to just kind of understand what those impacts are, what the gray areas are, and there are many, and what needs to be done. So it'll be, and hopefully it would be great if our state representatives and senators showed up as well, but we'll see.
They've been invited.
They've been invited.
We invite the governor?
We'd invite the governor if the governor wants to come. So.
I think we should. Have him come up and explain.
Yeah, 5:30 on November 12th at the Goshen Theater. And we don't anticipate it being that long, just
It's planned for an hour.
for an hour. Could
Format
go
will
over.
be
Yeah.
presentations and then questions that won't be call-out questions. It'll be
Submit.
curated questions going to Brett Weddle and Linda Gerber, so both
Mhm.
sides of the aisle. And they will curate those questions and then give them to the panel. And there's possibility that some other local mayors will be present too. So
Right.
I think that's still, I haven't heard the stats.
I haven't heard, I know that I think they've been invited, Phil Jenkins and
Right.
Rob.
So
Yeah.
again, trying to stay, on the local level, it's pretty unified front that things need to change. It's where you get higher up where things fall apart for us.
Yeah. And I think from the municipal level, all across the state, you're hearing the same refrain.
Oh, yeah.
And whether you're Republican, Democrat controlled, it's the realities of what is happening is in the numbers. And that's a concern for all these communities.
Has there been any feedback from our state representatives that they will try to maybe fix some of this, or is it kind of?
Well, Representative King was at a council meeting, 2 council meetings ago, I believe, and gave a presentation to Officer Ballard. And before that presentation, she mentioned that there were discussions of a fix. It was a very brief comment. So I hope she's serious about what she said at the beginning of that meeting. So it seems like there is some movement and there's some talk. You're starting to hear some rumblings about, all right, we're going to have to do something. So, which is encouraging. So the other event I wanted to mention again is the light parade this coming Friday. I will not be in town for that. I regret missing that, but because it's really fun and hopefully the weather is going to be okay. It's always iffy, but last year was perfect. It wasn't that cold. It was nice and but I know we talked a little bit about a float, which really didn't come together, but everybody from this commission is welcome to walk with the mayor's entry, which will be right in the middle of the parade. I prepared kind of just a little intro about what the CRC does, which will be read while we're going, kind of walking through the judges stand. I guess there's a judges stand, but the main parade MC. So yeah, if you'd like, we'll be handing out candy, walking with the mayor's team. and just interacting with the community, which is, it's a great event. So I hope everybody can make it. I sent you all the parade information in that one email. So it'll be staging at the church parking lot, or it's a city parking lot, off of Fifth between Lincoln and Clinton. So just look for the mayor's orange golf cart and you'll know you're in the right spot. So the mayor mobile. She never laughs when I say that, so I think I'm going to stop saying it. So, all right. Privilege of the floor. Anybody wishing? Apparently not. Anybody want to say anything? Anybody have anything?
I had a couple things.
Okay.
So, in my neighborhood association, the Shanklin Mill Race neighborhood
yeah.
association, earlier in the month they had like an impromptu like mini block party. So it was like just at Emerson Street was kind of like open for the whole neighborhood association, but 4 of the neighborhood residents decided to kind of put together like a little brunch thing. So it was just like all on them. They brought the food and cooked together, and like I think 35 people came out for it. But they had closed the street, and like of the 35, there's probably like 8 or 12 kids just kind of like playing and running around. So I thought that was pretty cool to see.
That street was pretty chalked up
Yeah.
when I left. They had all sorts of designs.
Yeah, it
on
was just cool. Like it just started off with 4 of them having the idea. They talked about it for a few months, and they just
Mhm.
went with it too.
So no, that was a great example of kind of what a neighborhood can do, or neighborhood association, just coming together for something simple.
Mm-hmm.
They blocked off half the block, I think, and didn't have any major traffic jams as a result. So it was a really nice time. I'm glad you mentioned that. All right. If there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a second. All right. All those in favor?
All right.
We are adjourned.